Hi there everyone, and welcome to this week's live stream lesson. Hope you're all well, hope the practice has gone well so far this week. So yeah, we will as usual continue with everything that we've been talking about. So we'll go back over a few of the exercises from last week and hopefully push on to something new. I appreciate that some of the content is getting more challenging, so we will probably spend a little bit more time on a couple of them today. Hopefully make sense of them, which brings me on to my next point, which is if you have any questions, then you have the chat function available, or if you're watching this video back in not real time as it were, then please put your comments or questions underneath the video and I'll do my best to get back to you. So yeah, if you've got any questions about what we're doing, just fire away and I will do my best to answer those. So before we get started, we'll just cover the basics. So whatever device you're on, if you could turn off notifications like emails, social media, that kind of thing. And if there's any children watching, I just recommend an adult to be in the room just to kind of help make sense of a few of the things we'll be talking about. And I think that's pretty much it really. So we'll get started. As I mentioned, we'll spend a little bit longer on a couple of the exercises just to make sure they're really making sense as well, and just let me know how you're finding them. So first of all, tuning. So we'll start, just try and make sure you can get these strings in tune. So this is our bottom E string. So if you haven't tuned up already, hopefully you can hear that, and then you just adjust the peg until you get to the right sound. And then we go on to our A string. And then we've got D, which are open fourth. And then on to G, which is the third string. To B, which is the second, and then finally our top E string. Okay, so that's our tuning. Remember, in terms of posture, we want that slight upward trajectory if possible, or if you're going for the classical stance, you might have a bit more of an upward trajectory. That's cool. If you're playing standing up, actually, I'm not sure I've ever mentioned that, it just popped into my mind that you can probably get a nice upward angle on the guitar as well. So if you watch people when they're playing live, when they're standing up, that is, you'll see they often have that sort of real upward thing like that. So yeah, that's good if we can get that. And then, yes, sorry, I was just going to mention, just a reminder as well, in terms of holding the guitar, so just try not to let it slide away from you that way, which does make it easier to see the frets, however, it does make it harder to play as well. So keep an eye on that. And one other thing, again, we've not really mentioned this that much, I think I've mentioned it in the past, but what to do with the thumb. So because we started moving up to the second position, I'll try and remember to talk about this more when we get to it. So our hand was moving sort of from here to here. So what you want is for your thumb to come with it. So if I bring my thumb up a little bit, so if it is here initially, it would just come up a little bit. So don't lock that thumb in position, because that's just going to make things a bit more difficult and you'll find stretching and things more challenging. So yeah, just allow the thumb to go where it needs to go. And remember, in terms of what it's really doing is, we're pushing down with the fingers this way with our left hand, so the pressure's going this way. So our thumb just wants to provide that sort of counterbalance, so it's sort of pushing back. So again, like, you don't want your thumb coming forward like that, and you don't want it off to one side particularly. So it's just trying to find that sort of sweet spot of like what works for you. But keeping in mind good practice as well. So, okay, so that's cool. So let's get started. So what I was thinking of doing as the main warm-up today was the notes in the second position. So if you turn to page 10 of GuitarQuest 2, I'll just bring the music up onto the screen quickly just so we can have a look at it. So this section down here, so we're going to start F sharp, which is our 6th string 2nd fret. We work through all the way up to the 1st string 5th fret for our A. But notice we have the F sharp and the C sharp and the key signature there. So either the F or the C would be played sharp. So they're the ones to watch out for. And as I mentioned before, when you're playing in the second position, having a couple of sharps is very common, sometimes more than that, sometimes less, but certainly 2 sharps is very common. So yeah, let's give it a go. We're going to start on the 6th string 2nd fret. You can go thumb or fingers, really, doesn't really matter for this because we're just trying to find the notes and hopefully make sense of them. If you're feeling confident, you can say the note names out loud as you play them as well, and that'll just help reinforce where they are on the fretboard, and hopefully that again just sort of makes sense of everything really. So okay, I'm just going to move in a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start on this F sharp. So here we go, after 4, nice and slow. Okay, so 3, 4, so we've got F sharp, then we're going to go up to G, got our open A, and B at the 2nd fret, C sharp at the 4th, open D, E at the 2nd, F sharp at the 4th fret, then we're going to go to an open G, A at the 2nd fret, open B, C sharp at the 2nd fret, D at the 3rd fret, open E, F sharp at the 2nd fret and 1st string, G at the 3rd fret, and then up to the A, which hopefully our pinky finger will reach up to. Okay, so that's all the notes. We're now going to go back again, so same thing in reverse. So after 4, okay, so 3, 4, we're starting on the A, and we're going to come down to the G at the 3rd fret, F sharp at the 2nd, then our open E, then D, C sharp, open B, then A, then open G, then our F sharp, E at the 2nd fret, open D, 4th string, C sharp on the 5th string, then B at the 2nd fret, open A, then we're going to go to G, and finally the F sharp. Okay, so that's that. What we're going to do is just try it one more time. You can say notes out loud if you want, but we're just going to try and go through it a little bit quicker, and just sort of again trying to make sure those notes are nice and comfortable and making sense. When we get to the A at the top, we're just going to play that once. So we'll be going F sharp, G, A, and then straight back down again. And we'll go at this kind of speed, I think. So that kind of tempo. Okay. So starting on the F sharp, 6th string 2nd fret. Here we go. So 3, 4. Open A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, open G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, up to A, and then we come back down again. C sharp, F sharp, C sharp, so that's a good kind of warm-up for the type of playing that we're doing at the moment because we're moving into that second position, so just trying to make sense of it and learn those notes a little bit better. A very good place to, or a very good thing to sort of embrace really. So, okay, let's move on. So the last couple of weeks we talked about this chromatic exercise, and last time we went up and down, well a couple of weeks ago we went up and down the 1st string. Then last week we zigzagged a little bit across strings 1 and 2, And this week we're going to try strings 1, 2 and 3. But to begin with, we're just going to go over just the first string, then the first and the second, and then we'll do the 3 strings. So let's start with the first string. Remember, it's 1 finger per fret, and we move up 1 fret, you know, as we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, that kind of thing. And with our right hand, we just want to try and alternate these fingers as best we can. Try and keep it steady. You know, our goal here is not speed or anything like that. It's more kind of technique. So try and make sure, excuse me, that you're on top of that. So, okay, here we go. So we're going to start on beat 2. Okay, so 3, 4, 1. And the upper fret to the 3rd fret, and the 4th to the 5th, the 6th to the 7th, and 8th. 9th is our top one. We can come straight back down to the 11th, 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, finish on an open E. Okay, so that was just going up and down string 1, so that's probably the easiest one, but let me know what you think. So we are now going to move on to zigzagging on strings 1 and 2, so we go string 1 like that, and then we go upper fret but also onto the 2nd string, and then we go back to the 1st string at fret 3, and then we move up to fret 4, we go back to string 2, and so on. So we're kind of going from there to the 2nd string 2nd, 1st string 3rd, 1st string 4th, 2nd string 4th, 1st string 5th, 2nd string 6th, and so on. So anyway, hope that makes sense. We're going to give it a go. We're going to start on beat 2 again. So best of luck. We'll see how we go. Okay, so 3, 4, 1. To the 2nd string. To the 1st string, 2nd string, 1st string again, 2nd string, back to the 1st string, 2nd string, we're going to do the 1st string again and then come straight back down, so our last note, and 2nd string, back to the 1st, 2nd string there, 1st string again, 2nd string, 1st string, 2nd string, and 1st string again. Okay, so again, let me know how you get on. It's one of those ones, it's quite logical once you get your head around it. Doesn't mean it's easy, but yeah. And remember, think of it as more of a technique practice kind of idea. So as I mentioned earlier, speed isn't really the important thing. You're better to go slow and get it right than go fast and get it wrong. But that's the same for anything really. So, okay, so we are going to try zigzagging across to the 3rd string. So it's exactly the same principle. So we're going to start here. So the 1st string is normal, then we go to the 2nd string as we did a minute ago. But then rather than going back to the 1st string, we're going to go to the 3rd string at the 3rd fret. Then we go back to the 2nd. This time we'll be starting at the 4th, and then 1st string and we'll be at the 5th. Then we go 2nd string again, then the 3rd string. So that would be at fret 7 if we've done it right. Then back to the 2nd string, and then the 1st string, and then same in reverse. So we're always moving a fret down and a string across. So I hope that makes sense. Let's try it and see how we get on. Just nice and slow. Again, we're going to start on beat 2. Okay, so 3, 4, 1. So to the second string, to the third string, to the second string, to the first string, second string, third string, second string, first string. This is our last one. I'm going to hit our top notes straight back down again. So second string 11th, down to the third string at the 10th, second string at the 9th, first string at the 8th, second string at the 7th, third string at the 4th, oh 6th, sorry, second string at the 5th, and first string at the 4th, and then we finish on the E. Okay, yes, I was having to think quite a lot as I was working my way up and down there, so apologies for shouting the wrong fret out. Hopefully it didn't put you off. But yeah, that's the principle. So if you find you're comfortable with it and it's making sense, what you could do is go up and down string 1, then strings 1 and 2, then strings 1, 2, 3, and then you could just go back to do strings 1 and 2, then finally string 1 and finish. Yeah, great stuff. So I've just seen a comment saying from Elena saying, wow, I did it. That's awesome. So yeah, if you're finding it easy, double check the technique, you know, make sure it's definitely one finger per fret. Try and make sure you're alternating the fingers here, and if it is easy, just try going a little bit faster, and it will just keep building that technique. So but don't go so fast that you lose the technique. You know, we don't want things to fall over. Just push yourself a little bit though. So okay, let's move on. So what I'd like to do is start off with number 14 in GuitarQuest 3, a Guitar Odyssey. It's a Canadian Vista, so we're in the second position and we are just playing around with those notes. So we did this one a couple of weeks ago now, so hopefully you're okay with it. But let's just let's give it a go, see how you get on. We've got the repeat, so we'll do that as well, and let's go from there. So it's page 10. So we've got all our F's and C's are played sharp. We're in the second position. We talked the other week for bar 6 about how to play that and whether you want to switch the fingers around a little bit, which you're very welcome to do. Or you could just use the first finger twice in a row for now if you find switching fingers around is a little bit tricky. So yeah, let's give it a go, see how we get on. So starting on that F sharp then, here we go. So 3, 4. Second line. Third line. Back to the beginning. Give yourself a pat on the back if that went well. So as I said, we played that for a couple of weeks now, so hopefully it's okay. Do let me know if you've got any questions about it though. Otherwise, what I'd like to do is move on to number 15, Blue Waltz. So again, we're staying in the second position. We've got our Fs and Cs are sharp, so we want to watch out for those. We've got some bass notes coming into the mix as well. And we also have the coda. So again, just a quick explanation of that. If I just bring the music up onto the screen. So when we play this, we start from the beginning, we play all the way through. You can ignore that instruction the first time. So we come all the way down to here. And we see this instruction, DC al coda. This is when it kicks in. So DC back to the beginning and al coda to the coda. So we go from here back to the beginning, play all the way through to there, or up to here, sorry, so where it says da coda. So that's our instruction telling us to go to the coda, and that's the symbol for that is this thing here. And then we just play those final 2 bars. And remember, as I mentioned, I think the other week, codas can be, in this case it's only 2 bars, but it could be any number of bars. So they could be really long. It could be longer than the first section even. Yeah. So that just to give you a heads up. So okay, but let's give it a go. I don't think there's anything in particular to look out for. Add the dynamics if you want, but otherwise, just going to focus on getting the notes and the timing down. So here we go. After 3. So 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, second line. 2, 3. Last line. Coda instructions back to beginning. Last 2 bars. 2, 3. Okay, good stuff. So that is number 15. It probably is a little bit more challenging than some of the other exercises we've done. We've talked about playing 2 notes together before, but we haven't done so for a couple of exercises at least. So yeah, it's just bringing that back into the mix really. So if you found that difficult, then what you could do is watch the video back again later once it's been uploaded to YouTube or to my channel, and you can slow the speed down a little bit. There's they've changed it now so you can adjust it to whatever tempo you like, more or less. So you can find what's working for you and then play along with what I just played there. Or alternatively, you go to my YouTube channel and the playlist with all the backing tracks, and you can do the same. So you find the Blue Waltz backing track and just adjust the speed and drop it down a little bit. The overall tempo for that one is faster than how we played it today though. So whatever works for you is the main message there really. But yeah, let's move on. So if we turn the page, we are going to have a go at exercise 16. Which is the D major scale. So for anybody who knows a bit about music theory already, because we've been talking about having 2 sharps, then it probably doesn't come as a surprise that we're going to look at the D major scale, because when we apply the sort of the major scale interval relationship that you have to do to make it a major scale, if you start on the note D, you end up with the F sharp and C sharp, so you end up with the 2 sharps. So that's why we're going to try it. So I've written it in the second position. You can play it in the first position, and we might do that in a minute, but we're going to play it as written there first. So we start on the D, the open 4th string, E at the 2nd fret, F sharp at the 4th fret, open G, A, open B, C sharp, and first finger because it's 2nd position, up to the D, 3rd fret, and then we, yeah, I've got it written that we just come straight back down. So that's kind of all there is to it. So it's a relatively straightforward exercise, certainly in comparison to number 15, I would say. But you know, let me know. What do you think? Yeah, the thing perhaps just to be mindful of as you're playing it is that you keep the left hand position steady. So keep it in that 2nd position. Don't allow yourself to drop to the 1st position this time, or find, you know, sometimes you might see people use the pinky finger there, which isn't necessarily wrong, but what we want to do is get used to opening the hand and stretching it a little bit. So trying to use one finger per fret across this will just sort of serve you better in the long run. But let's give it a go. So starting on the open D, the 4th string, after 4, just nice and slow. Okay, so here we go. So 3, 4, D, then E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D. And we're going to come straight back down. C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, and D. Okay, so fairly straightforward. Give yourself a pat on the back if that went well. If you feel you need to practice it, then obviously that's just part of the homework, if you like. So have a go at it. What I'd like to do is just play it again, but this time we're going to play it in the 1st position. When we play it, we're going to use our middle finger to get the E, and then our pinky finger to get the F sharp. So again, this is just going to stretch the hand a little bit more. So again, just making sure you don't don't want to use the word cheat, but don't kind of compromise what the left hand is doing, what we're trying to achieve with it. So, okay, let's go. So from the D after 4 in the 1st position this time. Okay, so 3, 4, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, and then we start coming back again. Okay, so all good and worth practicing those both ways. Again, a lot of like what we're doing in these kind of exercises and things like that is more kind of preparation, so that when you go to play pieces of music you actually do want to play, or you know, you might see a guitarist that inspires you and things like that. It gives you, well, hopefully you've got that sort of foundation from a technique perspective and things, that you can tackle those kind of pieces of music, you know, because a lot of stuff is going to be way harder than this, you know, especially when there's so many amazing guitarists when you look on YouTube and stuff. And what, you know, you see what they've done and what they're putting out and stuff, and it's incredible. But what you don't see is the hours and hours and hours and hours of practice that went into it before then. So that's effectively what we're trying to cover here. So you know, just try and take on board all the suggestions that I'm making, so that then hopefully the technique builds and so on. And as I say, then when you go on to those more advanced pieces of music, hopefully you'll be okay. So. Okay, we are nearly out of time, but I'd just like to have a go at the next thing in the book, which is the G chord. There are a couple of different ways of playing the G chords in a really sort of, how should we say, like, I'll talk you through it in a second, but this G chord like this, that's the most common shape for G, but we can also add an extra finger in, which we'll perhaps come to next time. Both are very interchangeable, both are very common. The second way, which we'll talk about next time, might be slightly more common in fairness, but we always start with this one. I can only assume, you know, I was just saying, I went through it, you know, how do you play a G chord, this is how we do it. because we've got to put 3 fingers down, it's probably a little bit easier than having to get the 4th finger down. But once you're comfortable with playing the 4-finger G chord shape, you'll probably find actually it becomes easier in a bizarre kind of way. So, but let's talk about it. So, in fact, if I just bring the music up onto the screen again. So we're looking at this chord shape here. So our middle finger is going to go 6th string 3rd fret, 1st finger 5th string 2nd, and it's a bit stretchy, but our 3rd finger is going to come over to the 1st string at the 3rd fret. So if I just talk you through that again now. So we're going to go middle finger to the 6th string at the 3rd fret, and our 1st finger comes over to the 5th string 2nd, and then the stretchy bit is to get this 3rd finger over to the 1st string at the 3rd fret. And that, if you're not used to doing it, can be quite challenging. So just sort of persevere with it. I've seen in the past people actually having to physically move that finger to get it into place. So don't worry if you have to do that. Just make sure you can get the fingers into place initially, and then when you go to practice it, just make sure you're always putting them in the right place. And you know, for example, this finger, if it doesn't quite stretch far enough, might end up on the 2nd string, but we want to make sure it's on the 1st. So that's something to watch out for. Try and keep the fingers up on the fingertips as much as possible. So when you play the chord, if you do each string one at a time, nice and slowly, you should hear all the notes nice and clearly. The most likely thing not to happen, I would say, is the middle finger slacking down a little bit and muting the 5th string. You get something like that. The 1st string might do the same onto the, so you're playing, it's on the 5th string and it might mute the 4th string. The other 3 will probably be okay, I'd have thought. So yeah, if you get that, it's just that little, very small adjustment that just you move your fingers up a little bit and you know, talk about a millimetre or something, and hopefully get that sound. So let's just try strumming it together. I'm just going to strum it 4 times. So here we go, G chord after 4. So 3, 4, and G, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so hopefully that chord sounded okay, or better than that. In fact, let's hope it sounded amazing. You know, if it does, then again, let me know, because it's a tricky old chord. So what I would suggest, because we'll probably finish up there, is practice the G chord, go back over the C chord from earlier in the book, because in exercise 17 we're going to be practicing changing between G and C, and also the D chord. We did cover that a while back now, so again, hopefully the D chord you're okay with, but if you can't remember it, please do go and refresh your memory on that particular one. The chords are at the back of the book as well, so you can check them out there as well. Yeah, one thing I would say is, in my experience, when you show people G and C, usually they find one chord easier than the other, and it seems very random as to which it is. Some people find the G easy and then the C tricky, and then the next day you might be showing someone else and they'll find the C tricky and the G easy. So be interesting to let me you know how you find it. So do let me know if you find one easier than the other. Obviously our goal is to make them, or bring them both into the comfort zone so you can play both of them without too much bother. But yeah, let's finish up there. Sort of overrun a little bit, so my apologies about that. So things to practice for next time then. So I've suggested we do 14 as a bit of a warm-up, and we'll keep going with the chromatic exercise as well. So that's something to sort of use as the warm-up. And then exercise 15 we're going to do again, because I think that one is a bit tricky, so we want to try and make sure we're on top of that. Exercise 16, and that was playing the D major scale, so you could play it in the 2nd position and also try the 1st position as well. And then we have the G chord. So practice the G, try and make sure you can get it nice and clear, and then practice just changing from G to C. If you want to chuck a D in as well, then do that as well. And then we'll talk about exercise 17 next time, and how we're going to combine those chords. So yeah, that's that. In terms of the next lesson, I am going to take a few weeks off now for Easter. So give you plenty of time to get some practice in and get on top of things. So the next lesson is actually going to be the 1st of May. So 3 weeks off and then back again 4 weeks today, which is the 1st of May. So because that's a bit of a gap, like I said, it gives you time to kind of get on top of all the things we've been covering. And any exercise you found difficult, please just go back and watch the lessons where we talked about them, or go on and play with the backing tracks, slow them down, all that kind of thing. Whatever helps you get from where you are now to being able to play them, ideally at full speed, but if it's a little bit slower, then that's fine. It's all about just moving forward. So that's all good. We'll finish up there. If you liked the video, then please do give it a thumbs up, and if you know anybody you think might be interested in taking part in this guitar lesson course, then please do share it with them as well. And otherwise, I will look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. So have a wonderful Easter, everybody, and I will see you all on the 1st of May. Okay, take care then. Bye bye.